I have had the pleasure of spending quiet times with not one but two beautiful speakers. Truly exceptional loud speaker that many of you have been asking for review. And today we are looking at the stunning DALI Rubikore 6, and I will be comparing them directly with another remarkable speaker, the brand new Sonetto V G2. As you know, for my reviews, for my channels, when it's possible, I love to bring real side-by-side comparison. So let's not waste more time and dive direct in. The Rubikore 6 is a part of the brand new DALI series, positioned between their popular Opticon line and the more premium Epicor models. Each pair handcrafted and assembled in Denmark, so a true European craftsmanship. At the heart of the Rubikore 6 is DALI's patented hybrid tweeter module, which combines a soft dome tweeter with a ribbon super tweeter. And unlike traditional 2 or 3-way speaker, DALI call it 2.5 plus half, where woofers handle bass and mid-range up to around 800 Hz. The soft dome tweeter covers the main treble range, and the ribbon tweeter, cut it in above 14 kHz, works as a super tweeter, only reproducing the very highest frequencies for extra openness and air. Nice to see that DALI is using high quality components in the crossover. But here a funny story. Back at the beginnings of my audio journey, I upgraded from my old Oberon 7 to the Rubicon 8, so the predecessors of the Rubikore series. And I remember calling my hi-fi store where I purchased the speaker, asking them what's going on with the super tweeter, because it's not working. I couldn't hear anything coming out of it. But of course it was perfectly working. It just operates way up in the frequencies that most of us can't hear directly. So it was a little bit funny. For the mid-range and bass, the Rubikore 6 uses two 6.5-inch woofers with DALI signature SMC technology in a double magnet system. Cabinet design is very elegant, minimalist, with a clean profile, gently curved edges and premium finishes that reflect DALI's Scandinavian design philosophy, while the rear firing bass port helps with room integrations and placement flexibility. So I found myself just grabbing the speaker from there, and very easy to move it inside my environment. Something that with the Sonetto 5 was a bit harder, let's say like that, since it has a down-firing bass port and is a bit heavier. In terms of specs, the Rubikore 6 is not extremely a difficult speaker to drive. DALI recommend at least 40 watts of amplifications, and I totally agree with this. Works with amplifiers that have a slightly forward mid-range and a clean analytical character, something like Cambridge Audio, for example. On the other hand, I wouldn't recommend amps with an overly exaggerated top-end openness or brightness, since the Rubikore 6 already provide a very open and detailed top end. Personally, I had an excellent experience with the NAD C399. It's no coincidence. At most hi-fi shows, you will often see the two paired together. The C399, in my opinion, is one of the few Class D amplifiers that truly sound as an AB amplifier, if not even better in some respects. And honestly, I would like to do a fully dedicated review about it, because the synergy not only with the Rubikore 6 but with most the speaker I tested with is really fantastic. Now, regarding placement, even though this is a rear-ported bass reflex design, it is surprisingly forgiving. You can place them really close to the rear wall, and the bass response below 50 Hz doesn't change dramatically. Another important note, DALI speaker doesn't need any toe-in. They are designed to fire straight ahead. And the good news that you can really play with the distance between left and right channel to achieve a better sound stage. By just increase the distance between them, the Rubikore 6 will reward with a massive sound stage and a pinpoint laser focus center image. The only caveat, in my opinion, is that the sweet spot appeared to me to not be particularly wide. So sitting in the central position gives you the best result in my opinion. But overall they are very easy to position and get sounding right, especially compared to the Sonetto V G2, which I found more demanding to integrate into the room. One small but important detail is the grill. Unfortunately, it's not magnetic and you have to be very careful when attaching it. The fixing pins sit at the same level as the ribbon tweeter. Personally, I preferred listening with the grill on. There is a slightly smooth in the response that I found particularly pleasing to my ears. A nice bonus, meaning that probably you also will not need to remove it during a critical listening. Base is solid, punchy and dynamic with a pleasant softness on decay that gives it a natural tone and musicality. It hits really hard, makes its presence felt, and then gets out of the way pretty quickly. For EDM, it's downright impressive, tight, powerful and engaging, to the point that I never felt the need of an extra subwoofer. Midrange is neutral and perfectly balanced, never analytical or forwarded. Vocals, both females and male, are outstanding. Crispy, airy and full of nuance. Instrument sounds raw in the best sense, neutral and natural. Good recording sounds amazing, but bad recordings, not so much. And this makes the Rubikore 6 pretty demanding with the quality source. One moment you will be floored by Betty Guy singing Been There, Done That with a live in the room vibe full of soul and emotion. And next you might put on a compressed 90s recording like My Hero by Foo Fighters and find it a bit bright and thin. Timbre and textures are superb. Classic instruments like piano, for example, come across detailed and with a beautiful articulation. Very clean, while violins, acoustic guitars and orchestra string can be breathtakingly beautiful. Crystal clear and emotionally gripping. Resolutions overall is really high. This speaker is really resolving with a high transparency and refinement. Soundstage and imaging are perhaps the most impressive quality of the Rubikore 6. The stage is huge, layered and immersive, with pinpoint central focus and holographic imaging. The transparency is so striking that it feels like looking into crystal clear water, where you can see every details below the surface, and you just want to dive in and forget about everything else. For a real demonstrations of what the speaker can do, I strongly recommend playing Codex Part 2 by DJ Room. And if your sidewall don't feel to disappear and showing a soundstage stretching far away, kilometers from your environment, you definitely need to hear what the Rubikore 6 can do in your room. Now let's get into the most interesting part. As you know, for me reviews are not really complete until we do a side-by-side comparisons with another speaker in the same class. And if you watched my last videos, I upgraded my home theater to the new Sonetto G2 series with the new center channels and the Sonetto V G2 on the front. And honestly, I was expecting the Sonetto 5 to be a bit smaller but in reality it's actually slightly larger than the Rubikore 6. The build quality of the Sonetto is outstanding. The attention to details is next level, from the individual grills for each driver to the concrete base, the elegant curves, and even the logo on the top plate. It all makes the speakers look more expensive than it is. A first look at the frequency response measurement might suggest that the two speakers share a very similar tonality. But the moment you actually listen, it becomes clear obvious that it's not like that. As I said, Sonetto is a bit more trickier to place it correctly in the room. It will need for sure more space to play with and demanding an higher amplifier in my opinion to really shine. I had to switch into the name Supernaturally that brought a fuller and more authoritative bass response. We all know Sonus Faber match pretty well with Macintosh, but even the entry level is far from cheap. One practical tip for the Sonus Faber Sonetto V G2: try to use the spikes. Don't leave them sitting on concrete plinth or a rubber feet. Once spiked, the bass becomes more controlled and defined, and the imaging improves significantly. In terms of sound, Sonetto is definitely more forgiving with poor quality recordings. It has this touch of coloration that adds warmth and musicality, presenting everything as a smooth and cohesive band. The Rubikore 6 in the other end excels in transparency and imaging. And side by side it's a clear step, if not two. To get that level of refinement and openness from Sonus Faber, I think you need to step up to their higher Olympica series. Yes, DALI is more demanding when it's come to recording quality, but the payoff is worth it. The nuance, the resolution, and the raw presentations of music feels like true high fidelity. The Sonetto is more forgiving across different genre and recordings, but it simply is not as open, transparent or detailed as the Rubikore 6, at least with NAD C399 or Super-Nate 3, that is already a pretty expensive amplifier. And just to touch on another questions I have received: how does the Rubikore 6 compare to the Rubikore 2 at low volumes? And I find the Rubikore 6 to be more suited for this kind of listening, while also being capable of filling larger rooms with impressive dynamics for its size. Tonally, the two are really closer, but the Rubikore 6 definitely offers more scales and headroom. And that's wrap up my review of the beautiful Rubikore 6. The team of DALI is doing a fantastic job of delivering true high-fidelity sounds without asking for a crazy price. From my side, it's an highly recommended speaker, and I honestly can't wait to see what is coming next. This is Med Audio, thanks for watching and support my channels, and see you soon.